Alicorns are confusing. In the beginning of FIM, Celestia and Luna were supposed to be it. No, that was it. They were the only Alicorns ever, and it was never explained why they were the only Alicorns ever. Alicorns didn't even have a name until Season 3, with the Alicorn Amulet's introduction. Celestia and Luna were supposed to be the rulers, and that was it. Well, then, you know, Season 2 came along, and oh, who is that? Who is Princess Cadence? Why is there another Alicorn, and why does nobody seem to care that there's another Alicorn? And at the end of Season 3, Twilight turns into one. So, Alicorns aren't born, they're made. But wait, then Flurry Heart comes along, and she's born. Celestia says that an Alicorn was never born, but then Opaline shows that, wow. Okay, let's take a step back. First of all, my name is CXCD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe if you're new here. And I'm going to explain to you and try my hardest to create some kind of crazy unified theory on why Alicorns make sense at all. Call us whatever you want, a headcanon, a theory, because at the end of the day, I don't really know what I'm doing. But like I said, let's take a step back and we're going to start from the very beginning. Alicorns are, presumably, immortal. They inherit the traits from all three tribes, being strong, having wings and a horn. They typically tower over every pony else, and are almost always referred to as royalty. Alicorns are probably the closest things that ponies have to literal God in this universe. After all, with them being thousands of years old, they probably have quite a bit of wisdom underneath their belt. How do we know that they're immortal? Well, truth be told, we really don't. Of course, Celestia has, of course, lasted for a bare minimum of 1,000 years, being that she banished her sister 1,000 moons ago, or whatever moons are in this universe. But we never get confirmation that they are immortal. I mean, sure, 1,000 years is a long time. Sure, I mean, it's heavily implied, but it's never been confirmed. They never outright say it. Could Celestia just being around for 1,000 years mean that she's immortal? Or does that mean that the normal pony lifespan is around 1,000 years too? I don't know. By the way, when I say that she's been around for 1,000 years, she's more than likely been around for much longer than that. That's the bare minimum, absolute bare minimum. The most evidence we have for Alicorns being immortal, or at least live a very long time, is in the Season 9 finale, where Twilight looks like Celestia at the end of her life. Tall, long, and it's blatantly obvious that the other main six are aging. Honestly, it's kind of up to viewer interpretation. I mean, is she immortal? Or does she just live a very long time? I don't know. Nobody knows. The only two Alicorns in the beginning of the series was Celestia and Luna. That was it. Both are incredibly powerful rulers who have the ability to raise and lower the sun and moon, respectively. Why do people say respectively? What does that even mean? Like previously mentioned, this bar for Alicornness was raised when Cadence was introduced. I mean, she doesn't have the power to raise and lower a celestial body. She just knows how to love very good. This means that there was a third additional Alicorn that was thrown into the mix. I mean, why? Probably to sell more toys, honestly. I would not put it past Hasbro. But the addition to Cadence did raise a few questions about Alicorns. Number one, are there more Alicorns? We all thought that Celestia and Luna was it, one of a kind, but with Cadence being introduced, who knows? When Celestia banished Luna, or Nightmare Moon, spoilers by the way, I don't know if you knew that, but it happened. When Celestia banished Luna, that must have been a very lonely experience for both parties. Celestia lost the only pony that really mattered to her. Both are immortal, so both could take comfort in the fact that neither of them was going to be going anywhere for a while. And it would have been heartbreaking to know that Celestia was a lonely immortal. She banished her only other immortal, and now she has to live forever lonely. Well, with Cadence being thrown in the mix, then what the hell? Now Celestia has a friend who also won't die of old age. Like, I would say that the most Alicorns have ever made sense is when Twilight ascended. So being an Alicorn isn't a birthright, you have to earn it. So Celestia, Luna, and Cadence did something to earn all of their ascensions. And later they published a storybook that detailed that Cadence did do something to earn becoming an Alicorn. She saved a small town from an evil witch. So Alicorn status is earned, not born. Got it. So why does Flurry Heart exist? And when Flurry Heart is born, it's reinforced as a outlier. Celestia literally says this:
"The birth of an Alicorn is something Equestria has never seen.
It is beyond even our understanding."
You can come away from that thinking that that means an Alicorn has never been born, but that could also mean an Alicorn was never born within the nation of Equestria. I mean, it's really strange wording, but wording would never bite us in the ass, right? Right? Well, in G5, Sunny becomes an Alicorn, except she looks way different than any other Alicorn we've seen up to this point. She has orange magical wings that has never been seen before up to this point. And later in G5, we meet Opaline, an evil Alicorn. That's never been done before. But then Opaline drops some insane lore on us that Celestia and Luna were both born Alicorns, contrary to what we thought. So being an Alicorn is both a birthright and a rank. How does that make any sense? Well, earlier in this week, my Discord server opened up a brand new text channel called MLP Lore. Discord server is in the description below if you want to join. Please do. And in that channel, we had a very in-depth conversation about Alicorns. And I believe I've made a unified theory on how Alicorns work. Please bear with me. So without further ado, let's move over to the projector and I'll show you my unified theory. Well, I guess I gotta get over there now, don't I? Ugh. So, my thesis paper, or rather, theory based on all of this, is it's a tier system, kinda like a tier list. That was a trend for a while, wasn't it? But it's not that, trust me. On said list, we have 4 tiers. 3 of those being gods. And, 0 being birth defects, but we'll get into that, don't worry about it. Starting off with tier 0. Throughout Friendship is Magic, we see a lot of Alicorn animation errors. People who just didn't know what they were doing and ticked both the horn and wing option and didn't think about it. And I'm proposing that all those animation errors aren't. Instead, those animation errors are just birth defects. Sometimes a Pegasus can be horned and a unicorn can be winged. It just happens sometimes. This would explain the surprising amount of Alicorns in this show who just aren't royalty and are just showing up in like the background every once in a great while. But I've been saying a unicorn winged and a Pegasus horn. What about earth ponies? Well, I mean, technically they could be on this list. I think it's much more likely if a earth pony didn't have both traits and only had one. For instance, an earth pony can be winged but not be a Pegasus. This could very easily explain Scootaloo's inability to fly. I mean, her dad was an earth pony and her mom was a Pegasus. She's an earth pony with wings. That's why they never developed all the way. Sad, I know, but it makes sense. Why does it seem like I mention Scootaloo every freaking video, man? Moving up is tier 1. I would call this the good tier. I don't know. For this list, by the way, a pony can ascend to any of these tiers based on what achievement they did. Tier 1 is probably the easiest one to get into. After all, you just have to do something that is, noteworthy. Like saving an orphanage from a fire or something. There's Scootaloo again, by the way. I believe tier 1s are mortal and killable. On the outside, they don't look very different from any other pony. Their Alicorn status comes from the ability to hide it. Tier 1 is kind of like the only way I can put Sunny into this list at all, because she doesn't look like any other Alicorn. In my tier list, tier 1s are basically just about as powerful as the most proficient magic user. Proficient unicorn. Tier 1s are just as powerful as the most proficient unicorns. Sorry. To make Sunny less lonely, by the way, in the list, I'm also proposing that Sunset Shimmer could be a tier 1 as well. I think, honestly, she kind of deserves it at this point. Although we've never seen her, powered up, in a music video for Rainbow Rocks, she does don phoenix-like wings. And although the video director later came out and said, no, she's not an Alicorn, this is just a metaphor, I reject you! This is my headcanon, I can do whatever I want with my headcanon, damn it! Moving up to tier 2, tier 2 is probably the one that most people know about. Compared to tier 1, tier 2, Alicorns get a massive power boost. Not only that, but their wings and horns are physical and not, whatever the hell Sunny is. And gain the power of immortality, I believe. Tier 2 Alicorns can still be unalived with, physical force. This is where most of the Alicorns sit. Twilight for most of the series, Cadence, Flurry Heart, Opaline, Cozy Glow when she went crazy that one time. So I'm saying that everybody above tier 2 is considered royalty normally. I mean, in chapter 6, Sunny is kinda toyed around with being a princess, but there's no confirmation there. Alicorns in this tier, what was that? Alicorns in this tier are also considered taller. I want to say also that transitioning to any of these tiers, except for I guess tier 1, isn't instantaneous. It takes time. You get the horn, you get the wings, but you still gotta get taller. Here's a cool fact. If you haven't noticed, Twilight actually gains height throughout every single season. From season 3 onwards, every concurrent season, she gains a few centimeters of height. And by season 9, she is usually the tallest pony in the shot. If you've never noticed it before, I'm sorry for kind of ruining your worldview like that, but it's true. Go back and watch it. Season 1, 2, and 3, she's the same height as every pony else, but from onwards, she slowly gets taller. But Twilight never got to finish transitioning to a tier 2 Alicorn, as she was gifted tier 3 status by Celestia and Luna. I'm proposing that any of these tiers are swappable with each other, as Cozy Glow stole their tiers and became an Alicorn herselves. And like I said, Celestia and Luna gave their power to Twilight. So tier 3 is the final tier. This is where both Celestia and Luna sit, as I said, and Twilight in the Season 9 finale. These Alicorns are ludicrously tall. They have ethereal flowing manes from how powerful they are. They are invincible and extremely powerful, and I guess also immortal, because, you know, tier 2, tier 3. I'd assume they'd be immortal too. But when I say that they're invincible, I don't mean they're unalivable. They definitely can be unalived. I hate saying the word unalived. They can definitely be unalived. As seen with Tyrek, they can strip away their magic and make them vulnerable to physical attacks. The reason why I say tier 3s are invincible at all is because the elements, instead of destroying Luna, banished her. That tells me that she couldn't be destroyed. A pony can ascend to being tier 3 when they do something that changes the course of history forever. Like, for instance, I would like to imagine that Celestia and Luna got their Alicorn status from defeating Discord. Even though we see evidence against that in the flashback, don't worry about that. My headcanon, not yours. I'm saying that before the banishment of Luna, both of them, Celestia and Luna, were tier 2s. Celestia banished her sister and became a tier 3. And it wasn't until Luna came back from her banishment and asked for forgiveness that then she also turned tier 3. That's my reasoning on why Luna is not only shorter, but also doesn't have a flowing mane in the Season 1 premiere. It wasn't until we saw her in Season 2 again when she had that flowy mane, and she was already becoming a tier 3 Alicorn. And like with Twilight, she wasn't able to fully become tall because she gave up her tier 3 status to become a tier 2 and gave her tier 3 status along with Celestia to Twilight. I want to point out that she gave it over willingly. So that's my theory. Call it whatever you want. Dumb, stupid, idiotic, I don't care. And sure, there is evidence to contrary, like for instance how Celestia and Luna both looked identical when banishing Discord in the flashback scene, but But that doesn't really explain Skyros at all. What the hell is Skyros? Why were Celestia and Luna born Alicorns? That doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. I'd like to believe that Opaline was just lying about where she came from for whatever reason. And maybe I'm smoothing over some of the finer details. I don't know. But Alicorns in the series are notoriously difficult. So that's my entire theory, I suppose. Can you grade my thesis on a scale of A to F? I'd like to know where I ranked in this theory. Leave it down in the comments so I can read it and cry when I eventually get hate comments. But that's all. Discord server's down below. Please join it. And this was CXCD, and I think I'm going to go use the bathroom very hard. Thank you very much.
Is he following? I bite at the hand that feeds me, slap at the face that eats me. Some kind of animal cannibal made impressions on me. Have we met before?